Hi everyone, and welcome to this video on Keptn quality gates with Prometheus. This video is based on a tutorial that you will find on tutorials.keptn.sh, and you will also find the link to this exact tutorial in the video description. What we're going to do today is to install Keptn quality gates, have a demo application up and running, hit it with some load, and then execute the Keptn quality gate. We will experiment with different versions of this demo application, and we will take a look at how the Keptn quality gate is evaluating based on the different versions, and which version we should promote to production and which version we should definitely not promote to production. Everything I'm going to show you is prepared in a demo installation for you, and you can just execute this demo installation on a VM. I will do this. I will start the demo installation right now in the background, and while this is going to be installed, I will explain you what is actually happening. So the tutorial itself is available as said on tutorials.keptn.sh, and the tutorial is basically explaining how you can use the Keptn quality gates if you already have some kind of deployment or delivery workflow, but you just need a way to measure the quality and evaluate the quality of your services. And you can do so by using the data from Prometheus and SLO and SLI-based quality gates from Keptn. And this is the part of this tutorial. This is the main part of this tutorial, actually. So we're going to use the potato application for the as our demo application. We're going to use Hey, which is a very simple to use load testing CLI. We're going to use Keptn plus the Prometheus integrations of Keptn to trigger the quality gates. And of course, we're going to use the Keptn's bridge to take a look what is actually going on. So while the installation is running in the background, let's take a look what you would need to also run this tutorial on your machine or on the VM that you will bring. I have tested the tutorial on an Amazon EC2 instance with Amazon Linux on it with a T3 large instance. This is what works best in my experience. So if you can make sure to bring this instance, this tutorial will also work fine for you. Please also make sure to open port 22, port 80, and port 443 for interacting with your VM. And make sure you also have sudo rights to execute all the needed steps of this tutorial. Once you can bring this machine, SSH into this box and get started. First part is to install a couple of prerequisites. You can just copy this whole block and execute the whole block. It will download and install Git, curl, JQ, just a couple of utility tools and functionalities that we are going to use in this tutorial. And at the last part here, it's going to clone or download the Keptn on K3S sample repository and will check out the latest release. So with this, you will get all the latest sources, and we're going to make sure when we install it, we will have all the latest and greatest. So before you're going to install it, you just need to export one cert email that is needed for Let's Encrypt, as everything that we are going to install will also have a certificate. And you can just use the tutorial that is, or the email that is given here, or you can use your own email address. Both will work, hopefully. And here you have the installation instructions. So you can just copy and paste this installation's instructions, and while my installation is already running in the background, I will just briefly explain what we're actually explaining. We're using the flat control plane here because we only want to install the Keptn control plane. We don't need the full execution plane of Keptn because we're only using the Keptn quality gates in this tutorial. I've chosen the provider AWS because I'm running on it. I'm running my EC2 instance in AWS, of course. I've chosen the flag with Prometheus, so during the installation procedure, there will also be a Prometheus instance installed and configured with Keptn. We also want to have a Prometheus demo because we want to have everything ready once the installation is finished, and we don't want to install the demo afterwards. We also need Git, that is a UI for Git, very similar to GitHub or GitLab, where we can take a look at all the resources that have been added to the Keptn managed Git repository. yeah, we're going to use Let's Encrypt to have valid certificates, and we're going to disable the login for the Captain's Bridge, so we can just enter the Captain's Bridge without any login needed. This is just for the demo purposes. These are the exact instructions that I was going to use in the background for my installation. So while it is still running, let us take a look what is actually installed. First, we will get the Keptn control plane. We will also get Prometheus plus the Prometheus integrations that are needed for Keptn. We will get the Potato Head demo application already installed or already deployed and also exposed. We will have Gitia, we will have the Captain's Bridge, of course, and we will have the first run of the quality gate already executed. So once we enter the Captain's Bridge, we already see the first quality gate evaluation. So at the end of the installation procedure, this is what you will get. And let me take a look at my installation procedure. It's not there yet, but what we can already see what's going on is that right now it's generating the traffic for the Potato application. So this will be running for around 90 seconds because we need to generate some traffic for our first quality gate evaluation. So the script is already quite fast quite far into the process. We already have the URL for our Potato application. Actually, I can copy and paste this already to take a look. Now the script is just moving on. It's basically now finished with the quality or with the load test. And right now the script is finished. So we will see the URL to our Keptn API, the URL to our Captain's Bridge. There is no username or password needed in this case. We also see an API token for Keptn. We see the Git server, the user for Git, the password for Git. So we see a lot of things. Don't worry, I will kill this instance right after this tutorial, right after this video. So no need to copy the API tokens to mess with my machine. It won't be available afterwards. So let me just open the Captain's Bridge. Here we go. So we are in the Captain's Bridge. Let me just enable the automatic check and let me take a look at the Prometheus quality gate. So we can see the first run of the quality gate was already successful. Let us take a look actually at all the sequences that have already been executed. So we created the service, we have configured the monitoring, and we already can see the first part of the quality gate evaluation. Let me just move this here. We can see we got 100% of the score, and we have a couple of SLIs here, and we can see everything that was executed. We can see this here in our quality gate evaluation. So this is great. We can already see that Keptn did evaluate the quality of the Potato application that was deployed during the installation. So if you want to take a look on the actual quality gate, we can do it right here. Show us the SLOs that we're going to use. So we can see the response. We are taking care about the response time in seconds for the main page. We are taking care about the request throughput, the go routines, and also the response time, just for information purposes here. So we can see everything has been evaluated. We got enough points. Everything was fine to actually get a thumbs up and get green colors on this quality gate evaluation. So let us take a look in our second quality gate evaluation. Here in the tutorial, everything is described. So you will get all the information also here. If we want to take a look in the Git instance, Gitia instance, we can do so by opening again this link if we lost it. Or if you still have it open, you will also find the Git server right here. So let me just open this. Here we go. Click on Explore, and you will find the Keptn Managed Git repository. And I will just switch into my quality gate branch. And I have here my Hello service, that's the Potato application, and I can see the configuration for Prometheus, and I can see my SLO file. So let us take a look first in the Prometheus folder. So we can see here a couple of different service level indicators that we are going to use, and they have a couple of placeholders. So this is the part where Keptn will make sure once you use this file for a specific service to replace all these placeholders and use the actual service, the project, and the stage. So later on, when we will fetch the data from Prometheus, it will make sure to fetch the correct data. Okay, and we can also take a look at our quality gates. Here is our SLO file, and we can see here all the criteria we have for the Keptn quality gate, and we could also change it. So if you want to change it, you can do so by first logging in into the Git repository and then changing it here. The login credentials, you will find them right here at the end of your installation. Here are the login credentials for the Git instance. Okay, so now we've seen the demo application is installed. It was already load tested, and we already did an evaluation of the quality gate. So let us now deploy a new version. Actually, the potato head comes with different versions, and let us take a look at the new version. So before we go into this, let me just open up, retrieve the URL of the potato head, and let me open up the potato head application. Just go ahead here. Here we go. Here we have our potato application in version 0.1.1. And let me just open this once. We just leave this open here, and let me just go back to my tutorial and deploy a new version. So in this case, we are deploying version 0.1.2. We can just do this by copy and pasting into our terminal, and it will do a kubectl and just exchange the image of our deployment. So it's not very sophisticated, and for all the interactions with kubectl inside your VM, make sure to always prepend it with K3s, because we're going to K3s, the keys managed version of kubectl. So here we go. If we're going back and just reloading this again, there should be a new version of our potato head, and we can see it's now the version 0.1.2. So now we want to evaluate this version. We will also hit it with some load, and then evaluate it again with our Keptn quality gates. Okay. So the instructions how to hit it with some load are actually given here. And I said everything, you can just copy and paste it from the tutorial into your VM. So what I'm going to do here is I will just copy this. It's already running, great. So what it's going to do, it will execute the hey binary, which is our tool for the load tests. We are running this only for 90 seconds. If you want to run it for a longer time, you can just do so by changing it to, let's say, 10 minutes, 100 seconds, whatever is the time you want to execute your load tests. The binary would, at the end, it will give you a summary of the load test, and you can experiment how long you want to run it, or also in how many concurrent connections you want to open for the load test. So in my case, I'm just running it for 90 seconds with 10 parallel executions. And here I'm just fetching the ingress of my potato head application. So that's basically fetching the URL where the potato head is exposed. As this URL is generated dynamically, we are just fetching this here with this statement. And with this, we are now executing for 90 seconds some load on our potato head application. It is monitored with Prometheus. So basically, it's exposing data to Prometheus, and Prometheus is scraping this data every 60 seconds, I believe. And so after those 90 seconds, we of course have some way to evaluate with the Keptn quality gate, as we already have some data. Here we go. We already have the load test is finished, and we already have the answer on the status code distribution. So we know all of our 450 requests responded with a status code 200. That means everything was fine. So now that we know that we could reach the application, we want to know how did it behave? What is the quality of this evaluation? And we can just trigger a Keptn quality gate evaluation by copying this line here, pasting it into our terminal. And I just want to have an evaluation for my hello service, which is my potato head application, for the quality gate stage for my Prometheus, in my Prometheus project. And I will do this here for the last 3 minutes. You can also do it just for the last 2 minutes. I will just do it basically for the time frame of 3 minutes. This is the data I will be querying, or Keptn will be querying and evaluating. So let us go back to the Keptn's bridge. I'm just moving back here, and I can see I just did this evaluation. Let me take a look. I did not get a very high score on this. So what happened? And I can see the response time for the main page is now around 2 seconds. So there is actually a very high delay in this demo application for this exact version. So now it takes 2 seconds for the main for the main page to respond and to render. We can also evaluate this if we just go to the browser, hit F5. We will also see it takes quite long for it to come up. But this is not how we want to do the load testing. We want to do the load testing, of course, with some tools, and we just used Hey for this. Because it takes so long for the application to respond, we could also not satisfy our the request throughput. So this dropped by more than 80% to the previous runs. Also, response time is quite high in the goal routines. We just have it here as an indicator. We do not really care about this as long as this, in this example, we just say it they have to be less than 100, and we're fine. But you can now experiment with the quality gates by yourself. So you can go into the Git manage repository. You will just take a look here, and you can experiment. What are the criteria the Keptn quality gate should evaluate, and what are the criteria that you allow to pass, where you want to receive a warning, which SLIs or SLOs you just want to show up for informational purposes. So you can now go ahead and experiment with this application as the Prometheus is set up, Keptn is set up for you, and you have the demo application up and running. As said, there are 3 versions of the demo applications: version 0.1.0, 0.1.1, and 0.1.2. So we could also now go ahead and again deploy the previous version by just exchanging the image name and run another test of the quality gate. Everything what we did is also described in this tutorial. If you have any troubles, there's a short troubleshooting guide. And if you have any feedback, please reach out to us via Twitter, via Slack. Join us in our Slack channel on slack.keptn.sh and give us some feedback. What are you doing with Keptn quality gates?